Hello and welcome, everybody. It's Coach Action Jackson, and I'm here with another episode of Client Success Stories. This time, I've got Jeremy here, and Jeremy got crazy, incredible, and amazing results. He got no pack to six pack, unbelievable physique. Let me go through some of the numbers. He lost 34 pounds. He lost 12% body fat. He lost 4.5 inches on both his hips and his waist. He gained 2.5 pounds of muscle in the process and even added 3 inches to his chest. An incredible transformation. He's the newest member to the Action Jackson Hall of Fame, and I wanted to welcome him here. So, Jeremy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Awesome. Hi, Coach. Absolutely thrilled to be here. My name is Jeremy Keith. I am 55 years old. I'm part of a family of 4 with my wonderful wife, 2 teenage children. We're located in the Northern California Bay Area, and professionally, I work remotely to an East Coast-based education technology company, which kind of the story that gets us here means that I get between the home office and airplanes, I get a fair amount of seat time.
Yeah, and there's 2 really important things that you mentioned that let's just dive into right away. The first thing is that you're in your 50s. You got a six-pack in your 50s, and a lot of people think, hey, when I hit 40, it's over, but you're beyond 50 and still getting better. So why don't you talk about that for a second?
All right, so great, Jackson. If we rewind a couple years, that's when I kind of started on this steady trajectory away from physical well-being. And essentially what that means is I let everyday obstacles lull me into complacency with inactivity, poor nutritional habits. And during that time, I got bigger, softer, more tired, and just increasingly unhappy with myself. I'd like to blame it on something. My gym didn't reopen after COVID. My kids' schedules got busy. But the reality is it's just life. And when I finally came to realize that, probably about 6 months before we met, I started exercising regularly in the way that I knew how. And I saw a little bit of progress. I saw some moderate progress. I was getting a little bit stronger. Maybe energy was a little bit better, but I wasn't really feeling good. And I knew that I was only addressing part of the equation, and the other parts were very important to me. And that's kind of when we met and we got together, started talking about the program and what you thought it could do for me. And then to come back to your question, what's it like to be a guy in his 50s to have a six-pack? Well, frankly, it's rocking. I mean, what I needed was I wanted to improve my fitness. I wanted to improve my health and overall well-being. And what you gave me is so much more than the sum of the parts. What I was able to accomplish with it was absolutely amazing, absolutely thrilled. And I feel great about myself today, which motivates me to work even harder and go further.
I love that. So the other thing I want to address right off the bat is traveling for work, which is a huge barrier for a lot of people. And it's often a bit of an excuse, but it is somewhat of a valid excuse. It's difficult because hotel gyms, they don't always have great equipment. You have to find maybe a facility to go to if you want to go to a full gym. Food, business dinners, eating out, drinks, all of these things, temptations everywhere. How did you manage that just to get your workouts in and also to still eat very great, good diet that nourishes your body and got you the results that you wanted?
Yeah. So, and that's part of the beauty of it. It wasn't perfect. And the traveling, you're right, the business dinners, the drinks, these subpar hotel gyms, it wasn't perfect, but I had enough foundational knowledge and I had the information I needed to know what my guardrails were. And that's what allowed me to succeed. So yeah, sometimes I was in that hotel gym that had a dumbbell rack and a treadmill, and that was it. And that's okay, because between the workouts and the progress that I had made, I knew that I could do some things that were productive and at very least not counterproductive to what the overall goal was.
That's fantastic. And I love it. You said progress, not perfection, which is something that we teach, we preach. It's a mantra over here at Action Jackson Fitness, and we say it all the time because, to your point, life happens. We have to work. We have to support our family. We have to make money. We have all these things going on. So how do we manage these things? And everybody wants to be David Goggins and just go crazy all day, every day. And I love it. I love that idea, but it's not reality for most people. So we have to manage the best we can. And sometimes it's not perfect, and that's okay as long as we keep putting one foot in front of the other. Now, how did you deal with, you mentioned guardrails. What were those guardrails for you, and how did you implement them when you were traveling? And I just want to touch on it a little bit more because I know this is a big topic for a lot of people.
Really, most of the guardrails, ironically, were in the kitchen or the restaurant, as it were. So part of what I learned in program was what I needed to eat, how much of what type of macronutrient I needed to consume, and what quantities I needed to eat. And this allowed me, after having some time to practice and put it together, it allowed me to go out and order sensibly at a restaurant, or to pick up something at the store to take to my hotel room, where I could assemble meals that were not sabotaging my overall health and well-being. And frankly, one of the things a little later in the program that you taught me was, hey, here's how you have a drink responsibly. Here's a cocktail that isn't absolutely going to kill you. And I think you call it the California margarita. I may have leaned on that once or twice.
Yeah, the NorCal margaritas. I got that one from Rob Wolf all the way back in the day when I think he wrote the Paleo Solution, which was like one of the original, new trending diet books back in the day. So yeah, that's a great recipe. It's low calorie. It's not going to sabotage you as much as some of the sugary drinks are, or some of the more calorie dense ones. So that's fantastic, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit of insight there. Now, as you've gone through this journey, outside of just the travel, as we already talked about, what were some of the other obstacles that you may have faced along the way, and how did you overcome those things?
Outside of the life obstacles, outside of the pulls on my time that we all experience, going through a program, I mean, it's a lot. It's a commitment. And fortunately, I went into it with the mindset that I am 100% committed to this. I'm committed to me. Working with you gave me a sense of accountability. I felt accountable and committed to you that, hey, I need to do this program like Jackson gave it to me, or else I'm letting us both down. But some of those were the diet easy part for me. The first month is brutal. You hear people say, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. It was easy for me to power through. I was still kind of on that beginner high. I made so much progress early on that when that progress started to slow down, it never stopped. I continued making progress forever. But when that progress started to slow down and not move quite as fast, it became a little bit emotionally taxing on me. And this was where, well, I learned the hard way. I'd like to say that it was really easy, but I learned the hard way. I started rereading what you were telling me. You and I communicated. I said, hey, Jackson, I'm struggling here. And you said, well, are you doing these things? I was like, well, yeah, fair point. I wasn't doing those things. And it helped to reset and get me back on track. Another indispensable part is probably your client community that you have structured. The amount of support and encouragement and resources from that part of it alone is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, so I had Michael Berkowitz on just like maybe a couple weeks ago. He did his no pack to six pack transformation success story. And you and him had a bit of a competition going. Why don't you talk about that and how that might have helped with your success as you went through the program?
Yeah, it's interesting for you to throw names out that I know and people I consider my friends now and even partners in this journey. Everyone in that community is getting amazing results. And one, it motivates me to push harder. And then when you get a couple people who have very similar starting points and similar ending points and journeys along the way, it becomes a little bit competitive, friendly competition, but a little bit competitive to the point of being challenged and called out for progress, for weights, for volume, and all those things. Absolutely love it. And really I could probably, if I were to meet these people in person, I would feel like I already had a friend and someone I could count on to help me continue with this journey. It was really a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I think that friendly competition is I think it's so underrated. And I think it's just something that people don't leverage in their life at this point. There's a lot of negative connotations around competition these days. And I think it's so beneficial. When I was working at a gym in person, when I first got started working at Diacati Body in San Francisco, me and a few of the other trainers just friendly competition. We supported each other. If anybody asked me for help, I would tell them exactly what I was doing, how I was doing it, what they needed to do to improve. And they did the same thing for me. And I would not be here today if it wasn't for many of those individuals, which I appreciate so much. Like, they've just helped me so much. But it was also fun to compare our numbers at the end of the month. How many new clients did you sign up? What did you do this month? What are your numbers? Like, and it was always fun. And, we would bet, dinner or drinks or something on it. Nothing crazy, but it was fun. And when you were the one that won and you got the free dinner and drinks, you were like, yes. And there was so much pride associated with that. It was just great. And it really pushed me many times when I didn't feel like it or want to do it. It gave me that accountability and that nudge that I needed to be like, let me finish this off strong. Let me just finish this month and do what I need to do, because I want to show up for my friends and I want to compete in that competition with them. So
Yeah, 100%. And, aside from the support in just helping you to get through it, it really, particularly with Mike, because he would say, hey, I did a crazy double this week. And I'd be like, oh my God, how do I deal with that? But it helped to motivate me to push through plateaus and limits, or things that I thought were limits, and showed me that capable of so much more than I even knew was a reality.
I love that, because I think we all are. And as we get older and older, we want to put these caps and these limitations on us. Oh, if you're over 40, you can't get a six pack. Oh, if you're over 50, forget about it. And it's just not the reality. Now, I'm not suggesting again that we need to go out and run ultra marathons like David Goggins or something, but whatever limits that we're putting on ourselves, usually it's a little bit lower than what's really possible for us. And once we break through a few of those things, we say, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do this. What else can I do? That can really open up so many avenues for your life. And I know it's certainly done that for me in many different areas. So I'm glad that that's been happening for you as well. So as you've gone through this journey, kind of getting towards the other side of it, what sort of mental mindset, we talk about mindset all the time, were there mindset breakthroughs? Were there things, what were some of those limitations maybe that you had to work through that you are now on the other side of?
Maybe the most enlightening moment for me was switching from diet mentality to, and this is a little bit cliche, to like lifestyle mentality, that I'm not doing a program to accomplish a specific goal, comprised of insane sacrifice along the way. What I feel like my big breakthrough was, I've been given the tools and the knowledge to reshape my life in a way that is very livable, that now I can maintain this for as long as I choose to maintain this. I feel great all the time, physically. So emotionally, I feel better. I feel like I look much better. And this helps, it just brings positivity and energy to all elements of my day and my being.
Yeah, I think it's the unsexy solution that's the necessary one for people if they really want to have sustainable long-term results. But it doesn't post well and doesn't sound great on Instagram. It doesn't sound cool to be like, let's come up with a sustainable long-term solution that's flexible, that allows you to have some of your favorite foods in moderation. Like, that doesn't sound great on Instagram, but it really is the solution that people need, because that allows them flexibility, variety. Then you can go out, you can travel, you can have some drinks, you can do all of these things. And as long as you do it in moderation, then you can still have success. You could still get a six pack. You can still get 13% body fat and add muscle and do all these things. It's just about making sure that you really are just making adjustments so that you can have the lifestyle you want while still getting to your goals. And most people are just all on, all off. And that's just not a mentality that's good for long-term success.
That was the switch for me too. Partway in it, when I got out of I'm making this sacrifice into the, I kind of like it. This is pretty cool. I like the outcome, and getting there is pretty good too. I have enjoyed so much flexibility now that I operate within the guidelines and the guardrails that you help set me up with, that I don't know why everyone doesn't do this outside of it's hard to get started.
It is hard to get started. We'll talk about getting started in a second, but what you just said there, the sacrifices, oh my God, I get goosebumps and I got chills because I think about it all the time. People say things like, oh, Jackson, there's so many sacrifices involved. And I don't even like that word because I think it puts such a negative connotation on what we're trying to do here. Like, I quit my job to start this business 10 years ago. It's my 10-year anniversary here in November. And I'm just so blessed and grateful. And people say, well, you made so much sacrifices to get here. I don't see it that way. Those were not sacrifices. Those were deliberate choices that I made that were opportunities that brought me to this point in my life. And that's just the trade-off. There's trade-offs in life. It's not a sacrifice. Those were opportunities, and I'm so grateful for them. I just don't see it as a sacrifice. So when I go out, if I have one slice of pizza versus three, I don't see that as a sacrifice, because if I eat three, I don't feel very good the next day. And then I have shame, guilt, all these things, scale goes up. Like, I just don't feel good. I'm not going to get my workout in. I might not get up early. And it's the same thing with alcohol. I'll have one cocktail or two. I don't have 3 or 4 anymore. It's not a sacrifice. It really isn't. I feel great about my decisions. And that's what allows you to have the great lifestyle. Man, that just literally gave me chills. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Now, as far as getting started is concerned, what would you recommend to somebody out there who is maybe in that situation where they need a kick in the butt? They need a pat on the back. They need something to get going. They don't know what to do. Maybe they have a tonal, maybe they don't. Maybe they're trying to work out, maybe they're not, but they know they need to make a change. They just don't know what to do and how to get started.
Interesting. I believe you and I had these conversations. We were talking for a little while before I actually came around, and you were more plugged into my fitness goal than I was at the time. You're like, well, what's stopping you? I'm like, well, nothing's really stopping me outside of I don't totally want to work for it yet. And for anyone else who's not exactly happy with where they are or thinks they would prefer to be in a changed state, I would say, take the step. Do it. Step out there and do it. What you can't do is fuzzy your way in. And that's what I was doing before we met, Jackson. I was fuzzying my way in. I was working out. I was getting pretty strong. I looked like a blob, and it was just weighing on me emotionally. And, going to the pool, I started wearing rash guards instead of just rocking my swim shorts, and like all kinds of little emotional things that you don't necessarily think of. So for anyone who would prefer to look and feel and be different, do it and take the step. And then once someone is there to help guide you, give you the tools, give you the resources, show you the path, it becomes so much easier from there.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned is a really important point, which is people live their lives, not just with limits, but with these like asterisks of like, oh, I can go to the pool, but I can't wear my swimsuit and feel good about it. Or, I can't feel good when I look in the mirror, put clothes on. And they have these limitations on their life in terms of the emotions that they can feel, the experiences they can have, all of these things because of their health and fitness. And they get to a point where that's no longer a problem. And it's not even a concern. It's like my health and my fitness is just good. And I feel good. I look good. I can go to the beach. I can go to the pool. I can do what I want. I can be active. I have energy. It's not even a concern. I just feel like it opens up so much opportunity for people to really live their life on a level that they've never experienced before. And I hear it not just from you, but from so many other people time and time again. Jackson, I'd go to the beach and I'd have this anxiety. I didn't want to take my shirt off, or this happened or that happened. Couldn't keep up with my kids, whatever it is. And then to not even have to worry about that, God, that's so freeing. And it's like, what's that worth to somebody? And it crushes me almost inside to see people that are suffering that way and not living their true, authentic lives because they don't have that freedom. And it's what I witnessed with my mom. And it's why I'm so freaking, insanely passionate about helping people and doing this, is because I don't want to see people live like that.
Yeah, it's a huge thing that you don't even think of. And when you do become complacent, when you do accept this compromised position, it's just a downward spiral from there, whether you realize it or not. And again, I would say, if you want to be different at all, or if you think you should be different, take the step. And everything is problem solving 101. If that doesn't work, if that doesn't fill your bucket, then great, not to do that again. But I know it will. A couple of people came to me, Jackson, through social media as I was in the earlier stages, the first half of the program. And I occasionally post some results or I talk about, hey, here's what I'm experiencing. And while I wasn't attributing directly to your program, I definitely wasn't selling your program. People were reaching out to me on the side saying, hey, is this for real? How are you doing it? I bet it's awful. Yes, it's for real. I'm doing it because I've help, but I have the right help. And no, it's not awful. And one person who is a current customer of yours now said, well, did you lose any weight? Yeah, I lost like 7 pounds in the first week and a half. What? Oh my gosh, how did that happen? And I said, here's how it happened. I had the right tools and the right protocols in the right order, and that's how it happens.
You came in with some decent skills. You were already working out. You had done some things. So like you had a decent base foundation to begin with, which is great. And that puts you in the best possible place to really hockey stick and succeed at a high level, because then when you get the puzzle pieces together, you get so much leverage. So that is a really, and you're a hard worker. Obviously you're successful, like you're a hard worker, which is great as well. And you had that going for you. But I think people really undervalue coaching in the results that they could get, because there are a lot of scammers. There are a lot of bad programs out there, but you just can't underestimate the right coach. It's the difference between Michael Jordan winning no championships and winning 6 championships in two, where he did 2 3-peats, 3 in a row. And being from Chicago, I was right in the mix with that. But also in my own journey, I remember starting this business online and being in the beginning. And when I shifted from in-person to online, I did my first 46 sales calls and I didn't make a single sale. 0 sales in 46 calls. I was making no money. I went from having a 6-figure in-person coaching business to making $0. My now wife, girlfriend at the time, was just like, what are you doing with your life? Like, this is horrible. Making no money, 46 calls in a row, nothing. I went from business coach to business coach to business coach. Nothing worked. Finally, I found the right coach. That one person hockey sticked me. And then I got 100 times the value from that one person because of the insights, the breakthroughs, the advice, the accountability, of course, that he gave me. But just getting that leverage, I already had some hard work. I had the work ethic. I had a few skills. And then he gave me the leverage I needed. And then it was just moonshots. And that's obviously your experience. Hard work, skills, moonshot.
And that's absolutely awesome. And what's really great about the story you just shared is that's exactly how it works in your program. So you're right. I had been working out before. Specifically, I was working out on a tonal machine, which has these baked in programs. I was even doing your programs, and they're amazing. But what it's not is individualized and arranged in an order that is most beneficial for me and my goals. And that's where you hockey sticked in. That's where you came in and you individualized the program. You created a longer term success vision. And that's where I don't know anyone from the customer group or anyone who's ever worked with you who has a negative thing to say or a negative experience in terms of progress. I mean, you're batting 1,000. And that's what I guess you shared took for you to get your business going. And that's what we're all enjoying too. You do that for us. And I think that's the secret ingredient.
Wow. Thank you, Jeremy. You're going to make me emotional here. I think one of the things I just appreciate so much is because I didn't have the success early when I shifted online and I struggled really bad for 2 years. I appreciate every single one of my customers and clients so much because I know what it was like to have none and to be out there saying, I know how to do this for people and have nobody raising their hand that wanted to work with me and just have nothing to show for it. So I just appreciate so much you doing this, obviously putting in the hard work. But man, I'm just so stoked for you because the results are just so head turning. And I could not be more proud of you. I'm just blown away. Your transformation has been incredible. It's been such an honor and a privilege to work with you. I really do mean that. And I really feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I have the best job in the world getting to work with amazing, high-performing, unbelievable individuals like yourself. And then watching you succeed beyond both of our wildest dreams, it's incredible. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and you deserve it. And again, I don't want to make this a pump up Jackson call too much, but I'll share a little story. Um, that personal connection, you're talking about how you appreciate your clients, and your personal connection is so strong that your birthday happened in the middle of my program, and all of us set up a separate Facebook group. We were collaborating, we were making videos on the side. We worked for months just to wish you an appropriate and a fitting happy birthday. And we do that because we're all grateful and thankful. And that's the connection and the bond that you've been able to form. And that wouldn't happen if we weren't, one, if you weren't you, and two, if we weren't all enjoying phenomenal success.
Well, I don't want to take any more of your time. Jeremy, this was unbelievable. I really appreciate you sharing your story, for being honest, for being open here. And more importantly, just for trusting me, for investing in yourself, and for putting in all the hard work. Remember, you did the work, you ate the food, you did all that stuff. Then that's exactly why you deserve and earned the confidence, the energy, the respect, everything. You're a superstar. I mean that, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very grateful for you, for the program, for all of the new friends, and mostly for the new life that I have, or the new way of living life that just has me at the top, feeling like I am as good as I can be for now, even better tomorrow.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thank you again. And remember, everybody, action is the difference between dreaming and succeeding. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks. Take care, all.